Zack Snyder's director's cuts of the Rebel Moon movies have dropped on Netflix. Are they any better? Here's my thoughts. Hello everybody, my name is Jesse and welcome to my channel. This is my review for Rebel Moon, the director's cut part 1. And this is the director's cut, the R-rated version of the first Rebel Moon movie directed by Zack Snyder that came out the end of last year. And I did a review on both of the PG-13 cuts. If you saw those videos, you know I wasn't the biggest fan of the PG-13 cuts of the Rebel Moon movies. So I was curious to see if I enjoyed the director's cuts or the R-rated versions more. And I just finished watching part 1. And unfortunately, this didn't really change my mind that much on what I thought about these movies to begin with. The director's cuts of these movies are, for one thing, they're R-rated, so they're a lot bloodier, more gruesome, and the writing has been changed a lot to have a lot of swearing and just kind of gives it that R-rating feel. However, the movie itself doesn't really change all that much. The first 20 minutes is building kind of the backstory for a very important part of one of the characters' lives, but that's really it. Some of the action sequences are extended, and like I said, since it's R-rated, they're a lot bloodier, a lot more gruesome, and the kills are a lot more brutal. And some of the dialogue sequences are not only extended, but just rewritten to kind of give that R-rated feel with a lot of swearing. The story itself is practically the same. It's Korra and Kai and Gunner going on like a quest to get fighters to go up against Noble, who still, his motivation is pretty much the same. He invades Korra's planet to get all of their food. So the main story of this movie really didn't change all that much, and that is really that was my biggest fear going into this movie, was that it wouldn't really change much on how I felt about the story. I mean, I think the R rating is the biggest seller of this movie. I think it is a lot more fun that it's bloodier and not as restrained. I mean, it definitely makes all of the kills more fun and more shocking to see. But the fact that the story didn't change was my biggest fear about these movies. I was really hoping that they could change it and make a more compelling story than what we saw the first time. And that unfortunately just was not the case. So the R-rated version, this director's cut, did not really change my mind very much on how I felt about these movies. I'm hoping part 2 was a lot better, but as the time stands, it didn't really, I don't love this version a whole ton more than I loved the original. Jimmy, voiced by Anthony Hopkins, continues to be my favorite character here, and he is great. We actually got to see a lot more of him in this version, which I enjoyed, and Anthony Hopkins is just always great, so I loved seeing him. I loved hearing his voice every time we saw him on screen, and we got a bit more explanation of where he was this entire movie with these extended scenes. And just, I think the biggest factor of this movie, it is unforgivably too long. The movie is 3.5 hours long, and it honestly feels like a chore to sit through at times, because since the story is the same, it's just not that much entertaining. It could be pretty boring at times. So if you didn't enjoy the first Rebel Moon movie, this one is not going to win you over. It is not going to fully sell you on Zack Snyder's intended true vision, whatever you want to call it. So those are my thoughts on part 1 of the director's cut. What do you think of this movie? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll have a review on part 2 coming hopefully in a couple of days. Until then, like this video, subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to hit 300 subscribers before the end of the year. If you could help me get there, that would mean a lot. And keep watching movies. Goodbye.